Hey, what's up, everyone? This is El Gallito de la Sierra, aka Crypto Keeper. I do the research so that you don't have to. Over the last year and a half, I've been heavily invested in reading more about AMP, following AMP, checking out the news with AMP. And many of you know AMP is set to hopefully create some partnerships this year that is going to rock our socks off. So, kudos to all of you who are holding AMP. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. Many of you gave me a chat, and I responded as much as I could to all of you. And so, shout out to all of you who are following my content. Really appreciate you, and I think that without you, I'm nothing. So, I wanted to talk a little bit more about my last video in terms of personal philosophy and why philosophy is so important to crypto investments in general, but more specifically, the types of investments that we're all carrying. Most of you are following me. You're either a Polymatic, a AMP, a Litecoin, a Cardano ADA holder, and so I sort of kind of mix my videos a little bit. But what I think is so helpful for people is to really know why philosophy is so important to the crypto game. Because crypto is really that. It's a game. It's a game like the stock market is a game. It's an emotional game. It's a psychological game. And it's so important that you define your philosophy so well so that you exactly know what your purpose in this game is, what your philosophy in life is, and how your philosophy spills over into who you are in your investments. We talk about a lot in terms of dreams, right? Everybody has a reason for why they do what they do. And I think it's good to have dreams, but I'm one person who can say that I really didn't have clarity in terms of what I really wanted in life. And I'm going back, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I'm 44 years old. And I think in the last 10 years, since I was 34 years old, I had a reality check and I started really evaluating what I really wanted, what my philosophy was going to be in life, and really driven by that purpose to achieve the unachievable, to reach the unreachable. And so I've been working really hard on my own life, and that's kind of what I want to share with you is just a few different philosophies that I have included as part of my worldview, and it has changed my life tremendously. So I hope you really appreciate the value of this content. I'm going to be, really weaving and I guess you could say merging the two together. The philosophy has a lot, your philosophy and defining your philosophy, whatever that might be, and having a clear purpose in life is going to make a big difference, a huge difference in your investments and the investments you make. Because when we make investments in ourselves, those investments of how they change us spill over into all of your actions that you take in life. And so I think that's why it's so critical that we share more with each other about those types of simple strategies in life that also account for the strategies that are successful in investments or in work or in any other thing that has to do with your own life. So let's get started. Why is your philosophy so important for you to define? Well, here's the simple thing. 10 years ago, I used to wake up, roll out of the bed, and curse the clock when I went to work, right? So it wasn't my dream job. It wasn't where I thought or where I should be at. Given that I had spent, 6 years of college, junior college, earning a degree in criminology, and then, leading into a field that was a job that was going to lead to a career in the schooling that I had received. So again, woke up every morning, cursed the clock, didn't like my job, right? So rather than waking up each morning, cursing the clock, or rolling out of bed, cursing the clock, and then going to work, uh, I said I got to do something about this, right? So I started to do simple things like every time I woke up in the morning, I spent 5 minutes doing something production. Sorry, I spent 5 minutes reading something productive. Anything that just sort of led me to feeling better. And so a simple step like that I took changed my worldview. I began to appreciate my job for what it was. I began to do more for the employer than what I was paid for. I began to do the little things that no one else was doing, like picking up trash on around the organization, or cleaning certain areas that nobody else would clean. Just personally, because I felt, I need to do more for this job. I need to do more for me. I need to invest more in me so that those investments in me lead me to a career. So I was going from job, right? From job to career, two different things. So I started to practice that over and over and over, day in, day out, day in, day out. And it was tough. Let me tell you, the first thing, forming a new habit is very, very tough. But I'm glad I did it, because the more that I did it, the more these habits brought joy to me. I appreciated the career I was in. I was listening to less gossip. I was listening to less negativity. I was becoming more positive internally. And as a result, I was attracting people who were more positive and had a more positive outlook than those around me. And so that led to a promotion at my job. That led to a higher paying job or a higher paying position at my job. And so you might think, well, how can a little thing like that, like investing 5 minutes or 10 minutes in the morning, rather than rushing out, the normal person gets out of bed, goes to the restroom, does their business, brushes their teeth, jumps in the shower, shaves or not shaves if you're a woman. You do your thing, your routine, the mundane stuff, and you're an autopilot, right? And that's the problem. The problem is that our body is much more smarter than our mind, than our thinking. And that's what you have to change. So once you start to change there, you become better. You become changed. Your body and your mind become susceptible to this change. And as a result, it shifts easily between between who you are and who you could become. And so I became a whole new person, and that's really what I accredit to those little small changes in my own personal life that have led to great success over the course of the last 10 years. So now, of course, I'm 44 years old, and each year I have a game plan. Each year I have pages of stuff that I write down. How many books I want to read before the end of the year. How many days more I want to be able to fast. How many more hiking trips. How many more vacations. How many more investments I want to pursue. How much more savings I want to accrue. All of these things, they're just all realistic goals that I set for myself. Maybe in the next video, I'll share that with you, what that looks like. But I take from many different talented people, and I just sort of combined whatever strategies they share to become my own. So be original. That's the second thing I want to say is, first, identify your philosophy. Second, be original. Be who you are. Don't try to be somebody you're not. It's great to have people you admire. I admire a few people that I don't even know. One that I know, but a few people that I don't know that I think they're just brilliant, and I appreciate what they share, to share with the rest of the world. And that's exactly what I'm doing here. I'm just sharing with you. You can take it for whatever you want, but this is not advice. This is just sharing information so that you take what you think might be helpful for you and you include it as part of your overall strategies for success. So again, rule number one is have a philosophy. That philosophy then needs to become who you are. And the philosophy should complement who you are. In other words, I was just saying, be you. Be you. You don't got to fake it. You don't got to be someone who you're not. You know, at work, sometimes I hear the people, saying fake it till you make it, right? Well, I don't know that I agree with that very much personally. It may work in the line of work that you are, but fake it till you make it is sort of kind of like this. You get in debt because you need to get the really fancy gold watch, the really nice dress shirts, the very expensive ties and the very expensive suits and the very expensive cars. So on the outside, you look very successful financially, but on the inside, meaning if you were to pull out your bank statement, there is probably about a few cents in your pocket and a few dollars in the savings account. To me, that's fake it till you make it. That's not a strategy that I necessarily agree with. Here's what I do agree with, though, is rather than fake it till you make it, why don't you set a really live financial plan right in front of you? In other words, if you are making, I'm going to use just solid numbers to make this easy. If you're making $50,000 and $50,000 to you is your annual salary, or that's what you earn on a yearly basis, working wherever it is you're working. That's what you earn, I should say, on a yearly basis. Then, if you're at 100%, in other words, there's no savings, you're at 100% of that pay to sustain the lifestyle that you currently have, then you need to figure out a few things. A is, how can you get a paying job that pays you more so that you can have a little amount that is left at the end of every check, and you could take that amount and either spend it on reducing your debt or invest it, such as crypto. That's what I do. And so if you're at 100%, then you gotta really work on maybe obtaining some new skills, maybe obtaining some additional talent, some certification, something that's going to help you in the course of the next 12 months to a couple of years, leap from wherever you're at to something better, something that pays more. And is that possible? Absolutely. You know why I know that? Because that's what I did, right? I just mentioned earlier that I spent 6 years in college. I went back. For me, that was the route. I went back and I earned my graduate degree. And when I earned my graduate degree, that was able to allow me to go from a job that was paying me, from a job to a career that was able to pay me double what my job was paying me. So I doubled up, just as simple as that. I obtained new skills. I obtained an advanced degree. And for me, that's what it took. And so I went from a job to a career that in which I really enjoy now. And that was a process, and that was a sacrifice. And I'll talk about that maybe in a later video, because that's a whole another topic for discussion. But the second thing you need to do is you need to define, where you fit. If you can do a 90-10-10, there's a really good book by the name of, it's The Richest Man in Babylon. And the premise of the book is really like, it's really taking whatever it is you earn and saving a percentage of that. And it's not so much the percentage, to be honest with you. With me, it's more the dollar amount. In other words, yes, I like to do like 80. Mine 5 years ago was an 80-10-10. 10% for tithing for the church, or 10% for charity. So the 10% was charity. In other words, my tithing for church, or 8% to tithing and 2% to a foundation that perhaps does a lot of work that I appreciate, like whether it be feeding the homeless, like a mission, or something like that, right? You got to be a giver. If you're just a taker, that's the other thing I had to change. I had to change the mentality and the mindset of being a taker rather than being a taker is to be a giver. Yes, it's okay to take, but it's also best that you give. Give often, give graciously, generosity is one of those fundamental core values of my life. It's generosity. So that so to move on, I now live, over. I started 90-10. Actually, I started 95-5. Remember, I said I had a job. The job wasn't paying me a whole lot, or at least what I felt I deserved, based on the skills that I had. And so the job was only paying me so much. That was it. But I started changing myself, adding value to myself, investing in myself, gaining those skills that I needed in order for me to advance. Once I was able to do that, then I was able to go from 95 to from a 95 to 5%. Then it was 90-10. Then it was 80-10-10. Then I went 60. I started splitting the amount that was left over into more sizable pockets. So needless to say, now I'm at a 50-50, meaning 50% of what I earn is what takes care of everything, whatever few bills I have. The other 50%, because remember, when I was at 80-20, 10% of that was going into investments. And that was just, how I categorized it. But now it's about dollar amount. For me, the definition of investment, or the way that I split my money, is no longer based on percentages. It's about dollar amounts. In other words, I take $1,000, $12,000 a year, and that is my crypto money. I don't have 401s. I don't have a 401k at my employer. I don't have other investments no more other than crypto. And for the last 3 years, it's been 100% crypto. And so there are many people who suggest, you should only be invested like 5% of your net worth in crypto, or 10%. You define what's best for you. For me, it's not even a percent. It's an amount. It's an amount. It's $1,000 a month that my family doesn't go without, and that's what I invest. And so, I'm going to wrap it up. I got 3 minutes left before the 20-minute mark. AMP token, just to go back to crypto. AMP is very interesting. I've been watching the markets. I've been watching technical analysis, and I've been looking at what AMP is sort of primed to do here in the next 6 to 12 months. And I really think AMP token is for all of you who are holding for the long run, because that's the other thing that I call myself Angel Galvez, aka Crypto Keeper. Well, there's a reason that had to be part of my philosophy, because when I went into crypto, I had to decide as well, am I going to be a day trader? Am I going to be a spot trader? Am I going to be a long-term, short-term holder? And I decided, the best thing for me is to become a long-term hodler, right? We refer to ourselves as hodlers. Those folks that keep their crypto. And so I just thought naturally, if I just called myself AKA Crypto Keeper, it had a nice ring to it. So that's kind of like, the more I say it and the more I believe it and the more I accept it and adopt it, the more I feel that I need not to exit the market. Honestly, I was feeling a pull to exit Litecoin. And, I had bought Litecoin back when it was $60. And, I felt that pull when it was up at like $240. And I was thinking, man, this is great. Litecoin's going to just go all the way up to like about $300. And that's awesome. And I feel like Litecoin's going to be, by 2022, 2023, Litecoin will be close to $1,000. And then all of a sudden the market starts crashing. Litecoin loses a lot of value. It's trading at 135, I think right now, 140. $100 less than what it was when I was thinking of exiting Litecoin. But then it was going to go against my strategy, right? Hodler, holder, and I'm in it for the long run. What is Litecoin going to look 10 years from now? Because that's really when I'm 44, by 54 or 58, I'm going to move on to something else. I want to do something different. And if all of my investments in crypto with the ones that I'm holding, granted, it's just a few. It's a basket of a few different eggs in crypto, and that's it. And I'm looking at some Cardano projects because it's just a whole different blockchain, and I'm looking at some opportunity there too. So I'm looking to invest in some of those, and I'm just gonna stick to those. Every time Polymatic dumps pretty hard, I invest in Polymatic and Cardano. I'm not buying all of these different cryptocurrencies. I'm only sticking to those that have utility. So again, I hope that this video you found it valuable. Again, my next video, I'm going to cover a little bit more in depth about philosophy. What are some of those things that you can do, and what are some of those books that you can read that can really add value to you? Break away from the mundane, same old mentality, because that is what most people have a difficult time breaking out of. And all it takes is these little steps, and these little steps that you make in your life are going to pay off tremendously. So again, thank you very much. Aquí el gallito de la sierra checking now, el Kikiri Kicks. Take care. Bye.